see if we can make a video real quick. Probably not going to say too much or do too much other than introduce you to my new rig and current trailer. You've seen us rebuild that, and this thing may come later. Ambulance here. Anyhow, fixing to go out of town to see family. We're not taking an ambulance or anything, actually. We're taking a cheap, efficient car because we're going so far. I have some future plans coming up I will tell you about later, but I will introduce you to this. This is my new rig. I can't tell you too much reason I got it right now. I can later on, but not right now. It is a 1988 Ford F-150 300, or not 300, a 302 engine in it, V8. Insurance has kind of got me big time on it. Has 150,000 miles on it. No air conditioner. That will be removed fairly soon, I'm sure. And no back glass split. It has a camper shell on it, but it's a manual 4-wheel drive, low mileage, pretty well taken care of actually. That's going to come off eventually. I haven't figured out a name for it. I want to make sure it's mechanically sound before I start doing too much with it. There's some work that has to be done on it. This will be a towing vehicle. I'll tow behind the ambulance. I've double checked the transfer case. If I put it in neutral, and the rear output shaft has an oil pump in it for the transfer case, so I can flat tow it, although that is going to be a very expensive endeavor. Plus, probably I'm going to need about $500 or more in parts for the thing, mainly because it has some issues. I can't get the transfer case into neutral. It's only 4 high and 2-wheel drive. Let's see. It needs to be rebuilt. It has some issues. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on with it and why it won't do that. You can see the speedo cable. There's lots of leaks underneath here. The guy I bought it from said it passed Denver emissions. I know why now. I'm not going to be anywhere where there's going to be emissions, so I'm not too worried about it. I gotta fix this. Whoever did that, whoever had it took really good care of it before. I'm guessing the last 2 owners got a hold of it. They beat the crap out of it, but you see a scrape there, and then you see an indent all along there, so someone hit something low to the ground that they couldn't see, and they weren't wherewithal to know it. Anyhow, it's basically everything my 85 Ford was, but didn't have all the problems. My my 1985 Ford F-150 short and narrow flare side I had, which, you know, apparently midlife crisis. Anyhow, midway through, my high school vehicle, I sold it in 2008 because I got tired of replacing clutches on it. It had an issue with going through clutches really fast, it felt like. I got tired of doing it, so I sold it. Plus, the fiberglass fender flares were always a concern for braking and no replacement. I have since added a whole lot more skills. I could probably build one out of aluminum now, and I might still do it. But we had a lot of rough learning experiences in it. For one, it was under power. It is very torquey, and it has a granny gear in the transmission, which basically meant it was a 3-speed. It was a 4-speed with a granny gear, so it was really slow, so you didn't get to go through the gears. This one's a V8, so it has a little, not as torquey, but it has the power to get up to 70 on the highway. Costs a lot of fuel to do it that way, but stupid flies. And it has a 5-speed in it, which is also the same 5-speed in the 4-wheel drive system that they use in the F250 and 350, which means it should handle a lot of abuse. It's right at the 150,000 mile range. Plus, parts for it are relatively cheap, and I'm familiar with the platform. So we will be ordering a bunch of parts and start in on the transfer case rebuild, and when I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and pull the transmission and do the clutch. That way it can be flat-toed easily enough, and we'll worry about looks and function a little bit later. I also need to pull off the front ball joints because they're wearing the tires out excessively. The guy I bought it from had the outside lower. It's basically the standard wheels like this with the body, and this is inward. So it has a positive camber, I think, on the ball joint, so it wears the outside edge of the tire before it hits the rest of the tire, which I can look at it and see it, and that's the easy enough fix. You just need to start, which I started doing, adding liquid wrench to it to help break up the rusted bonds that are in there because it's a press fit fitting. And the steering arms need to be replaced. I can't think of the term of them right now. I'm sure I will whenever I start working on them. Pitman arms and adjustments, those need to be replaced. I have a power steering leak that needs to be worked on. The guy I bought it from said he did a valve job. I'm still questioning whether he did a proper valve job, but that's something I mess with later. I can go ahead and get the clutch in and get it drivable, do oil change, check everything. Make sure it's not like has a blown head gasket or something like that. Radiator and everything else. I'm not entirely sure he bled the radiator right. Anyhow, that's, people do what they can. Do what I can. Anyhow, I get new tires on it, and if I'm going to tow it, I want to make sure it tows straight, and I want to make sure it tracks right and wears the tires right. So, anyhow, that is my new rig. Tow behind, double as a trailer, double as a Jeep or a tractor. 4 tractors, Anyhow, that's it, and I will bring you back in when we start working on stuff. Bye.